Now, from
Hello and welcome into your Tuesday Sports Tonight.
Regular Tuesday,
A
Low-key
night on which
Tuesday.
the most important thing happening is the college football playoff rankings. I assure you, nothing else more important in the United States right now. Surely, Georgia fans are just on the edge of their seats for where the Bulldogs will be ranked, and nothing else.
Business
I
as usual.
assure you.
Nothing else happening, especially here in the newsroom. I can smell the pizza currently.
We
I can
don't
smell the
bring
pizza.
in. We bring in pizza every night. This is a normal experience. I assure you.
Exciting. This is a big day. This is if you're a newsie, this is what you get into.
This is Christmas.
Yeah, this is Super Bowl.
We have a lot to get to and less time than usual, so let's just get right into it with Georgia Tech, a team that will probably not be ranked in the college football playoff poll.
That would be a shocker. That would be
That
a
would be a
surprise.
shocker, but still worth talking about nevertheless. They've had a very successful season so far, especially by their standards, and they're bringing in Miami this week. Oh, boy.
Yeah, Miami's looked. I mean, they've looked the part. When you talk about a Heisman candidate at quarterback, they have the most prolific receiver in their school's history still there, and Xavier Restrepo. Like, this is the biggest challenge that Tech will face, and Brent Key kind of said that as much from the podium here on Tuesday.
All right. Good to see you all again. Game week again after the bye. So, over the weekend, obviously being off this weekend, had a chance to watch the game live on TV of Miami and Duke, and I'll tell you what. Now this is a good football team. It's a really good football team, and hands down, biggest challenge we've had this year up to this point. And anytime you got a team coming in that's undefeated, but at this point in the season, and I mean, look, they have probably, one of, if not the leading Heisman contender right now. I mean, they're leading the league in every category, both sides of the ball. Offensively, they've got big, strong offensive line. I mean, their receivers are as good as there is. I mean, the one kid's the leading all-time receiver in the history of Miami. I mean, golly, I think we all grew up watching the receivers they had there and the type of players they had, at that position. And so it speaks volumes of what they've been able to do. And defensive line-wise, defensive front. I mean, we've seen some good ones this year, and this is the most talented we've seen up to this point. Look, I know Mario, very well, and he's a great recruiter. It's evident in the roster and the development of those guys and the coaching staff they have. They've done a really, really good job of putting this team together and getting them playing week to week. And this is where it gets hard. It is the continuing to maintain the focus and the determination of a squad. When to this point, he's done a really good job of it and really runs through that quarterback. And big, strong, physical running backs. They can run it when they need to and will. So. All in all, it's a big challenge for us. Hey, look, this isn't a big secret. We know we're the underdog in the game. And we got to prepare our best this week and play our best to be able to go out on Saturday and go out and compete the way we want to compete. So we're prepared to do that. We've started that already. We started last week. Had good practice on Sunday again, good one today. So keeping that focus and that determination that we have to be able to go out and compete. And, we know the challenge in front of us, and there's things we need the crowd there. We need our students there and our fan there to go along to be there with us on this. And that's what makes this place so special. Is the students are there rocking. I mean, it's homecoming weekend, which everybody thinks the head coach has like a say in when homecoming is and picking that. And none whatsoever. Just get that out in the open. It's none whatsoever. I think it's just like, all right, that weekend it works best for the administration of the school and to get people back and whatnot. But all I can ask is I hope our fans and our students especially. Whoa, Thomas, T. Gore, Thomas. Thomas Gore.
Yeah, I do.
Defensive lineman. Just wanted to introduce him to everybody. Y'all know who he is. See you, man. He's a funny kid, man. Really is. No, but we want our students to be able to take part in everything that takes place on Friday and throughout the night. And shoot, I mean, all day Friday night, or all night Friday night. I mean, let's get this campus rocking. Let's have it rocking and rolling. And shoot, I'm great if our students come rolling right into the stadium on Saturday morning from homecoming festivities. So we need those guys there. We need them loud. We need them there early. And can't wait to see them all there in the stadium. So, again, big challenge. Excited for it. Great opportunity to play college football this time of year. So, with that, open with any questions.
Update on Haynes King, please.
Oh, goodness, I forgot to talk about injuries. We're hopeful. That was your emoji, Doug.
We can do a better emoji for hopeful, I feel like.
Or was it that?
Yeah, fingers crossed.
No, look, he guys, I'm sorry I don't have anything else to tell you other than he's day-to-day. I don't. He's improving. Practiced. So he's out there. We'll see how we get to it, and it'll be a game-time decision again. So that's where it's at. We're preparing everybody to be able to play.
You know, Aaron, I am not one to look a gift horse in the mouth,
Okay.
especially when the gift horse looks and tastes like a sliced cheese pizza.
That was impressive work by you. We only had 5 minutes.
We had
and
5 minutes.
Pizza absolutely deleted in that time period.
Moving on to some more college football. Obviously, the biggest news in the nation tonight, the college football playoff rankings. Naturally. Georgia Bulldogs, probably going to be somewhere in the top 4. They were ranked number 2 in this week's AP poll. So you have to imagine they're going to be somewhere around there. I'm probably going to see Oregon number 1. But this is my thinking.
Okay.
I am not interested in 1, 2, 3, 4. I am more interested in 5 through 12.
Absolutely.
Because 1, 2, 3, and 4 are your top-ranked conference champions at the end of the season. Really, for 1, 2, 3, and 4 don't matter at this
There's
point.
no drama there right now.
No drama there right now. And those are going to be locked in after the conference championship games. It's 5 through 12, your highest-ranked 5th champion, and those other 7 at-larges that are of interest to me. Because that's going to be who the College Football Playoff Committee thinks deserves to be in this 12-team playoff.
And that's what we kind of learned from this first reveal of the 12 team from the committee. Like, what's their thought process? What are they wagering? What are they weighing as far as factors? Is it strength of schedule? Is it RPI? Like, how do they determine what it's going to look like under a 12-team selection? And like you mentioned, the fun part to me is going to be like 8-9. It's going to be a team that hosts a game versus a team that has to go on a road in the first round. Like, that's where we start to see, especially with the reveal of this first top 12 team rankings from the college football playoff. What are they weighing as far as what's important? Is it wins?
Give me top 8 Indiana. I need it.
You need Connor for that. He is all locked in Hoosiers. He is Mr. Hoosier right now. And who could blame him? Were they 9-0 right now?
9-0, on track for the best year in program history. And Indiana is not a football powerhouse
At all.
But you just love to see a team that's not a powerhouse just going off.
Hopefully we get a Cinderella.
Hopefully
that would
we
be
get a
the most
Cinderella.
exciting part. We get a Cinderella. We get a team that maybe you weren't expecting. There's definitely going to be a 3-loss team in as well. I know we're used to seeing 1 and 2 losses with the format how it was previously, but now you're going to get a 3-loss team getting in that the committee is kind of just boosting up, trying to throw into the bottom, kind of like we see in the men's basketball side of the basketball brackets. Who's going to be that frisky three-loss team that comes in and makes some noise?
So I'm just looking at the USA Today predictions. They have Oregon number 1 as the Big Ten champ, undefeated right now, one of the last undefeated teams
Still
in the country.
feels weird, Oregon in the Big Ten.
Oh my God!
That is just
I grew up in Chicago,
I don't get that.
so I grew up in and around, like, immersed in the Big Ten as college football coach. No, I'm sorry. Oregon being in the Big Ten is never going to feel right to me. I'm sorry.
Doesn't compute at all.
Or, you know what, a game like Oregon, Michigan being a conference match.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. No, I'm sorry. Georgia, number 2, as the SEC champion. Miami, number 3, as the ACC champion. It got BYU winning the Big 12 and being that number 4 slot. In the first round games, number 12, Boise State at number 5, Ohio State.
Fun.
Number 11, Indiana at number 6, Texas.
Oof.
Fun one. Number 10, Notre Dame at number 7, Tennessee.
Oh.
Number 9, Alabama traveling to Happy Valley at number 8, Penn State.
They're still getting blue blood programs here, though.
The Alabama at Penn State would be so fun.
It's fun. I think 2 more things as we talk about this college football playoff reveal that we're getting here tonight. First part of it is we're going to start to see these playoff games with implications in like weather and environments. You think of Penn State like in January, like these are games that are typically played in domes and controlled environments where there's really not a weather impact. And not only are you on the road, but now you're playing in like cold weather and 20-degree temperature. I think that's actually going to play an impact. And then back to Georgia specifically, I think if you're Kirby Smart, you're not even looking at this, and you're telling your team not to look at this at all. Like, we need to focus on winning one game at a time, week by week, and especially the way they played lately.
Yeah.
I was in Jacksonville for Georgia, Florida. Carson Beck
winning
looks like a
despite
quarterback.
themselves.
Yeah. He just needs to find his confidence. I would ignore all of this and just continue to focus on winning games if I'm Georgia.
You know, and because at the end of the day, Georgia's in a position where you're winning in. Win the SEC championship, and you have that first bye locked down. So, you know, I'm right there with you. I think Georgia just needs to let this all fall to the wayside. Yes, it's fun for us to talk about it and to just yap for 5 minutes. But if you're the Bulldogs, if you're the Ducks, if you're the Hurricanes, you just gotta keep doing what you're doing because you're in a spot where you can do that. If you're these other teams that are maybe on the bubble,
you're scoreboard watching and
you're
trying to figure out.
You're trying to figure out what you need to do. You're trying to do the most you can to impress the committee. So, yeah, I'm much more interested in those 5 through 12 slots because that's the things we've never seen before in college football. You know, this is new, uncharted territory for the sport, and to me it's really fun. I'm really enjoying this.
I wonder if the bye week, and we can wrap with this, you know how in baseball, like teams were like, well, we don't want to bye. We want to keep playing. I know football is a completely different sport. I know people want time off.
Don't get me started.
But I wonder if teams will see the bye week as an advantage after this first iteration of the 12-team playoff.
Yeah, especially in football. Like, a lot of teams, they like coming out of the bye week in the regular season anyway because that's just, you get to look at your opponent for an extra week. You get to practice for an extra week, and they have this extra time where your opponent just has to keep going. So, yeah, I'm really interested to see how they treat the bye. A team that definitely took today as a bye, the Atlanta Falcons did nothing for the NFL trade deadline. Stood completely pat, nothing whatsoever. Was there anybody that they might have even gone after? I'm not saying this team is perfect because it's not. But
they need defensive line help. I mean,
yes.
I think going into the day, if you're a Falcons fan, I mean, obviously you're thankful for the position that you're in. Tampa loses on Monday in Kansas City, which even lengthens out their lead inside the South. Essentially, they win Sunday in New Orleans, and the division is over. But if you're a Falcons fan coming to the trade deadline,
how were you not asking the Texans for Khalil Davis?
Yeah, and then there was
a 2026 7th-round pick to the Houston Texans from the 49ers for defensive line help. That's not a massive cost.
It's a lot of guys going for 6th and 7th rounders. You wonder if they're trying to play cap flexibility. You wonder if they want guys who are a little bit younger. I could also say, Ellie, like, they took their swing with Matthew Judon. Like, they brought in a veteran pass rusher for draft capital, and it just hasn't worked to this point. I'm encouraged by what they did on Sunday. I believe it was 3 sacks against the Dallas Cowboys in that win. So you're trending. The arrow is pointed upwards. I mean, there was nowhere really.
But these are the Cowboys at the same time.
Yeah, I'm I'm a little melancholy that they didn't make any moves whatsoever. We'll hear from Raheem Morris from Flowery Branch on Wednesday, but that was curious. That was interesting. I was expecting them to do something even depth-wise, even if it wasn't a starting guy who could come in and lead things. I was hoping for a depth move for Atlanta.
Definitely, just you were hoping for something because there were a flurry of moves even earlier before the trade deadline. And then you had today where one move after another, and you're waiting for the Falcons traded for this guy that let go of draft capital, and just nothing. Nothing from this organization, which I just think is a really interesting move, especially with some of the guys that were getting moved around. You look at DeAndre Hopkins, Marshawn Lattimore. These are good players that were getting moved. So I guess we're about to see if the Falcons standing pat is going to work out for them or if they're going to rue this particular decision.
Maybe they play bird in the hand versus in the bush and say, hey, we've already got the division sewed up. We're going to make the playoffs this year. There's no need to really mortgage our future to go all in on a short-term Band-Aid for this year. I'm just speaking devil's advocate here. I am not Terry Fontenot. I am not Reed Morris. I don't know what they were thinking. But when you kind of think through these moves from a front office perspective, it's all about pros and cons. It's all about give and take. And ultimately, the Falcons are in a really good spot. If you were to tell me 8 weeks ago that this team could essentially lock up the South before Thanksgiving, I would sign up for that 7 days a week, twice on Sundays. So
10 times
that's why
out
I
of 10.
give them a little bit of a benefit of the doubt here.
Moving on to what's turning into a Cinderella story, because I don't think anybody expected Atlanta United to be here on Saturday.
I certainly
They
didn't.
pulled it out with
I'll
two
put my hand up first.
incredible second half goals against Inter Miami. That second one from John De Silva. Just absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful stuff. Tied up 1-1 in the first round with Inter Miami, who set the regular season record for points in MLS history. This was
Best
the
regular season team ever.
best regular season team ever. And Atlanta United, a team that needed help from two different squads, squeaked into the playoffs with 40 points, had to beat CF Montreal to even get here.
And Joseph, friendly fire, man. Had
And
to
Joseph
snuff your own
Martinez.
boy out. That's crazy.
They're 90 minutes away. They're 90 minutes away from forcing Don Garber to go, hey, maybe we should rethink this whole best of three thing. Because I don't think eliminating Lionel Messi in the first round is
part of the
what that
plan.
man had in mind when this structure was created. I really don't think that was what was in store.
It's so weird with this Miami team because, as you mentioned, like they can boat race you just with the talent they have.
Absolutely.
I'm coming from Kansas City, and they moved the KC game against Miami to Arrowhead just because of the fanfare, and there's just so much excitement around this team, and it finally came together. Tata Martino there has really got them clicking, and then there's certain games where it just doesn't work. We know what Lionel Messi can do in the box, especially with on the front foot and trying to attack, but a lot of times he's just floating. A lot of times he's just conserving energy. He's not exactly pushing the pace. I'm not picking Atlanta in this one, but I want to pose this question to you, Ellie, because I think
Okay.
this is interesting. Rob Valentino is the interim manager. Nobody was kind of expecting this, and there was conversations when kind of leading into decision day on like where they're going with the managerial decision going forward. If they are to eliminate what we said in the lead-in, the greatest regular season team in league history, on the way to continue this run, do you take the interim tag off of Rob Valentino? Do you just say, you know what, you've proven it, you've earned it, the guys in this clubhouse, in this locker room trust you, and you've gotten the most out of them to be able to be part of the rebuild going forward?
You have to seriously consider it at the very least. I think that, soccer's a global game. There's a ton of coaches out there. You at least have to, at least to me, you got to put the feelers out there for somebody. But at the very least, on the whiteboard, you got to put Rob Valentino's name
Earned
right
it.
up top.
He's earned that.
He's earned the top
earned that.
spot in terms of your coaching search. He's earned this is the guy you have to be, because he has gotten the best out of these guys. They were not in a position to make the playoffs when he came, and this team was a disaster. And then they, they go on this great run of form. They sneak in. They beat Montreal, and then you have those two amazing goals on Saturday night. Just absolute beauties one from a set piece, one from an incredible run from Silva, and that's not something that this team would have gotten early in the season. So I think Valentino has them in a great spot, and he is a guy that, barring just an insane option coming in, I think he's the guy you run with.
I agree. It kind of reminds me of when the Hawks had a run after they replaced Lloyd Pierce and they brought in Nate McMillan, and then they go on their fun Eastern Conference Finals run, and we're having the same conversations like, oh, is he the guy to lead? And eventually they did decide that they would remove the tag from him. But it's interesting. I need your official pick on this one because I already gave. You're saying Miami?
You know what? I'm gonna get the hopium going.
Oh, come on!
I think they've got this.
There we go.
I think they've got this.
There we go.
I think they've got just the vibes.
The vibes.
The vibes are good around this team right now. And yes, you have to take into account. Okay, is this team actually good? But no, half of sports is the vibes. The vibes are good around this team. I'm sorry.
Especially in penalty kicks. And that's another thing people forget about this weird format, because after this round, which it was amazing for me to realize, but after this round, it's just one. It's just one the rest of the way. No more best of three series. It's just in this first round where MLS does the best of three.
After this point, you just got to win the one match.
And this game, if it's tied at extra time, or if it's tied at full time, it's no extra time. It goes straight to PKs.
You go straight to penalties.
And United
anything
has shown
can
the
happen
ability
in
to
penalties,
do
man.
well in PKs. I don't hate that pick. I love that we both took opposite sides here, so we'll have something to come back to.
I have hope for the Five Stripes for once.
The Benz was rocking, man.
Benz was.
Oh my goodness, the Benz was rocking.
And I'm just gonna say, you may have seen the footage from the two goals. There's no possible way to capture how loud the Benz gets when it's full and you just get everybody screaming after a big goal. It is legitimately one of the loudest things I have ever heard. And, you can maybe speak to this. You've probably been in Arrowhead Stadium a couple times.
I have.
That place has a reputation as being, the loudest place in the world. So, yeah, you can probably agree with me, at least on the front of, TV can't really capture how loud a place gets.
Yeah. This is we talked about Rob Valentino kind of injecting the vibes, but that is kind of what you needed from this club. They were kind of spiraling free fall. They're making changes, the head coach and the front office. What's the direction going to be after Triple G gets sold off? Like, there were so many question marks and so many places where you were trying to figure out, well, where does United go from here? And even if it isn't Rob Valentino long term, you got to give him credit as the guy that helped give this club a direction again.
Yes.
Point blank, period. Like, they were a rudderless ship for a month there, and he has turned them back around. No matter, regardless of result that happens on Saturday in Fort Lauderdale, they have direction again. And I hope, for your sake, that for our Atlanta's sake, that they could keep it going. Who's next? Do you know who's next potentially?
I do not know off the top of my head who they've.
That'd be because I know Miami's the one. So if you knock out the one in the East, you assume that the rest of the way you're cake. I know there's nothing assuming in sports, but yeah, salute RV.
All right, send us home. What's on your mind?
I know we've been joking about this, but I hope that as you're watching this, you're already in line at your local polling place, or you've done the deed already, or you've gotten it done. I flew back to Kansas City last week to make sure I cast my vote. I didn't register here in Georgia in time, which I'm kicking myself for. But extremely important to use that vote, cast that vote, let your voice be heard. This has been, it feels like months in the making of everybody kind of getting their ducks in a row, media, the people running, everything. And I stress that, especially for people here in Georgia, that just how important it is to exercise that vote. And it's going to be interesting to watch. If you want to watch your election results, lock in here on ANF. We're on your TV all day.
And we were joking about it, just trying to lighten the mood, just trying to give you a distraction, but ultimately, yeah, this is a big deal.
Sometimes you don't need a distraction. I mean,
Sometimes you don't
know,
need it.
like NBA took off all the games today. No, sometimes we need to push these things to the forefront. So I use my time to talk about that.
As for me, college basketball is back. It's finally back. Regular season. Georgia won last night. Missouri did not.
Oh.
But
They still have not
we
won a
won't, we
game.
won't talk about the
They
Missouri
still won a
Tigers
game this
basketball team.
year, Ellie.
No,
won a
they
game
haven't.
this
Somehow, this team. Oh my God. Anyway, this has been ANF Plus Sports Tonight. For Aaron Ladd, I'm Ellie Parker. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for giving us your time on Election Day. Go watch some sports.